Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, Tim Keys, and I'm back with another video. This time, I am talking about Reason 12, and it is finally out. I have just downloaded the full updated version that just was released today on my computer, and I'm just going to talk about some of the main features and give a review and an overview, basically, of the product. So, the first thing you will notice, if you're coming from an older version of Reason, you will notice that the 4K resolution, right? So the interface looks a lot cleaner and it looks a lot sharper for a lot of the new devices, such as the NNXT. I'll pull up another one so you can see it. The subtractor. Some of it is very subtle. Some of it is a little bit more obvious. It just depends on which device you pulls up. And honestly, I appreciate it because it is easier on the eyes when you're working. And yeah, if you're doing a long session or you're making a couple tracks and you've been inside this DAW for a few hours making music, uh, it can take a toll on the vision. So the 4K update is nice. I appreciate that. The being able to find your samples in a much quicker fashion is a little bit more streamlined. And so I appreciate that. Yep. So if I want my UK drill, if I want my trap, they've had this before, but it's a lot easier. I have a lot of drums. It's a lot easier to work with. And, it's not something that I initially cared for at first, but is a subtle improvement that'll go a long way. If you've seen any of my other videos, such as the one I've done on Mimic, then you already know what that can do. So I'm not going to put a lot of time into showing that here. What I am going to show you is what a lot of people have been wondering about, and now it's available, and that is the Combinator. And so if you're an old Reason user and you've been using Reason for a long time, since version 3 gave you the ability to take instruments and route them in creative ways to create essentially new instruments. And it also gave you the ability to be able to layer and combine your racks together to create, new layers, new patches, new tones in ways that was difficult. It was very reminiscent of Korg's Triton and Yamaha's Motif and a lot of the older synthesizers that allowed you to have that kind of, like, you had a patch mode and then you had a performance mode. This does that. What's nice about this update is that they've added the mixer. You get up to 16 channels. I presume that it's, two per synth that you put in. I have not dug into this in depth, but I would also presume that you have the ability to add more channels by simply adding a another line mixer or a bigger mixer. At least that's what you did on the older combinators if you wanted to add lots of different instruments. So I'll go over that real quick and talk about some of the features there. So the Combinator, I'm gonna I'm gonna throw a Europa. I'm not gonna do any heavy sound design. What I will do is go into some of the stuff I have just to, it'll have a little bit more customization in that respect. But basically, you'll see what I'm talking about when I do it. personal patches. I'm going to drag that in. I'm going to go back and let's see what I got for grain. I don't know what that's going to sound like. Let's throw it in and find out. All right. So I'm not going to do too much with this device because I just want to go over just some of the basics. So now I have my combinator. I'm going to throw something else in. Oh, jeez. April Fools. I'm not going to do that right now. So I'm just going to go in and pick a patch. Save myself some time. And boom. All right, so I got my patch loaded up, and basically you have your 4 knobs, your 4 buttons, or your 4 switches. And what you can do is you click on editor, you can show your devices or not. I'm going to keep my devices shown, but I'm also going to, I clicked on editor. Now I have this up right here, and it just shows all of my devices, and any device that I add will be shown here. I'm able to go into configure and I can begin to edit. And I can do that by simply clicking on the buttons, in this case the knob, and I'm just going to keep this one simple. I can add as many buttons as I like. I can change the size of the interface. You have your options here. You have super small, classic, medium, keep hitting the wrong button, big, bigger, and then huge. I'm going to keep it on classic for the sake of this demonstration. So now I'm going back and I'm just adding knobs and switches. Switch 5. All right. And you have different options, like you can customize this quite a bit. There we go. So for example, if I click on this, I can change the style. And I have multiple options to choose from. Small green, big red, classic, combi blue, which means if I exit out and I press the button, it's blue instead of red. Flat red, medium yellow, rectangle green. Excuse me, no, rectangle red. I did that. Small red, blue red, exit. So, and you have a lot of different options you can choose from. So now I'm going to click here, pitch wheel. If I want to make it compact, same thing, compact. I can make it gray or light or dark, or I could leave it as is. Keep mine there. I can also move stuff around. It's nice that they have these little markers to guide you to help you keep your instruments or your interface even. You also have a run button. So depending on let's say I had an arpeggiator thrown in there or another device, I could simply use this button to control it to turn it on or off. And again, you get to pick the different options. Bypass, controls. I'll go back to controls so you can see the different knobs that you can choose from. And there are quite a bit. Vintage XL. Black medium. Big black. It doesn't seem to be a way that you could actually take the item itself. Oh, you can do switches. Sorry. Yep, you got faders. And those are the combi wheels. So those give you a little bit of everything for your knobs. I'll move this back up. But yeah, so you get to essentially pick and customize the type of knobs you want within a limited scope, which is nice. I think this is more of a middle of the road approach to basically creating a customizable hub for your macros to control your synth. Once you did that, let's go back here. Now I'm back on my panel size. I have different colors I can pick. Orange, brown, blue. I can also go over here. Oh, so you got the legacy backdrop. It'll have those buttons, which is fine. And then your labels, light, dark, or off, depending on your background. Now, you can also, for your backdrop, you can load any picture. I forgot the set amount of resolution, but you can load any picture into the background. Let's load this one. This is from another video. Yep. So you can load that in, and that will fit into your GUI or your interface, if you will. So that's nice. So you can get creative in terms of the buttons that you put and the background you want to use. So if you wanted to really kind of get deep into customization, you would have to use another application, of course, to create the color scheme that you like. But you could definitely, get very creative with the panel, which is nice. I am going to take that off. And so let's see. Now I want to configure. Now, if you want to configure an instrument, let's say you want these knobs or these buttons to correspond with certain features on the combinator, you would click on the combinator or the device that you want it to involve. And as you can see here, you have things like your key range. As I go back, and I can adjust like the key range from one synth to the other. So if I wanted my left side of the hollow keys to be all keys, pardon me, my right side to be all keys, and on the left side, I had a pad. I went too low. I gotta pay attention to that. You get the drift. I'm not gonna go into any in-depth playing, but you can split the sides. I'm gonna bring them all back. I have my hollow keys Europa highlighted. What I want to do is I want to control, let's say I want this knob to control the volume. I'm going to go here. I got that selected. Target. And let's see. I have my mix, performance, effect, modulation, LFO. There we go. Master volume. So now I have this set up. So, yep. And as I turn my knob, maybe not so much. But as I turn my knob on this controller, it's lower, you don't hear it anymore. As I drive it up, so now it controls the volume. Likewise, if I click on the granulator, hit source, I'm gonna add control 2. And for the target, same thing. I want to, ooh, maybe I don't. Yep, I'll keep it simple. So same thing. I just want to target. I can control the volume of the grain. So now everything is moved to these panels as opposed to me having to open this up and work everything. And likewise, I can take another knob and let's go back. I want to use control 3 and let's say I want to find the filters. FFT size oscillator. There we go. Same thing. So it's there. Now, as I play with this and I manipulate it, to me, on one end, this is a very nice and welcome addition to the Reason workflow, especially if you're someone that's into sound design and likes to customize your own instruments. You can really get deep in the Combinator. I'm not going to do that in this video, but you can take different instruments like a Thor. Like I can take, if I wanted to, something like this grain, and I can route the audio from grain and run it through the effects of Thor if I wanted those filters and certain types of effects and utilize the step sequencer that's in Thor. I can do that in this Combinator. I can take the Maelstrom grain table synth and use it, instead of using it as an instrument, I can also use it as another device to process audio. So things get really interesting inside the Combinator. The fact that they added these new features, or they opened up the Combinator to allow you to control more parts of the parameter, I think it's a good thing. I want to see something. Just gonna slap something on here. Sample position, grain engine, format. Nope, it doesn't come on that controller. That's all right. I have to map that out. So I have an older MIDI controller and Core Control 49. And on the older versions of Reason, if you uploaded the Combinator, the first 4 knobs and the first 4 sliders would lock into the Combinator. However, it doesn't do it once you start adding buttons. So that will probably be something where, in my case, I would just map out the MIDI controller to fit the newer configurations of what I would put on there. That's not a big deal. But anyhow, this is a nice welcome addition. Let's see. In terms of anything under the hood, let's see. You've got your 4K. I've done the Mimic. I'm done with the Combinator. Um, a lot of it is going to be pretty much a similar workflow. So if you're already used to using Reason, then, and I don't say this in a bad way, a lot of things are going to feel similar. And I think that's okay because I would hate to go into a DAW and they overhaul it entirely to the point where it creates such a new experience that you're not able to use it the way you want to. Let's see if we got anything new from the players. And we don't. You got all your instruments. Yep, so far outside of the Mimic sampler, there's nothing new. I still have, I'm on the subscription version, and I have a boatload of the other rack extensions. Anyway, um, so yeah, I have not seen anything pull up my VST3s. So I'm gonna kind of wait on that. I'm not gonna say they don't have it. Um, I might have to I might have to reroute my VSTs, so to speak, uninstall them and reinstall them. Let's see if they've done anything with audio to see if you can do polyphonic MIDI conversion. That's kind of a big deal for me. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to drag and drop that. I'm also going to cut it because I don't want that. And what I'm looking for is pitch edit. And I'm going to go into the sequencer in full. So, yep. It doesn't look like they've done that. So a lot of that stuff is untouched, which is kind of disappointing. So let's see. I'm not going to go through every nook and cranny feature. If you've been using Reason, then you know what it is. Reason is a powerful DAW. And if you're new to the environment, I'd say try it out. It is very strong in the realm of its instruments. It has good instruments. It has good effects. It is very creative for allowing you to really make the sounds you want to. It has multiple samplers. Grain, Mimic, NNXT, NN19, and different ways of utilizing those samples. And stuff really gets interesting when you throw those instruments into a combinator. I've only just tapped on the basics lightly, but things get really interesting when you put your sounds into this combinator. And if you have other devices like Scenic or any of these for your drums, depending on what you're trying to work, you can get very creative in the realm of sound design. The 4K is nice. It'll save you in those longer sessions. The VST3, in my opinion, I appreciate it because it makes it easier if you want to take Reason and use it with another DAW like Ableton or Studio One, or pick your DAW and name it. You don't have to do all of the routing like you did with Rewire, which I can understand why they dropped it, because you used to have to essentially open up two DAWs and have them running and have everything from Reason routed into the sequencer of your secondary DAW to get that sound or to get that music, which could be that could be daunting. And so I understand them eliminating that. You can buy Reason 12. I want to clarify that too. You can buy Reason 12. You do not have to use the subscription. You won't necessarily get all of these instruments. You will get whatever instruments you currently have. If you're new to Reason, if you buy Reason 12, then you'll probably just get these. These are all your built-in devices right here. And then that's about it. And that's okay. That gives you plenty to work with. Same thing with your effects. You have a fair amount of effects that you can use to work with. These you have to buy third party or buy additionally. Same thing with your utilities and your players. So you get a fair amount of stuff to work with. And this is very easy to crank out ideas. I'll probably go back in another video and actually show you how to make a track or composition, if you will. So it's good on that end. And you can buy the perpetual license. If you're someone who owns Suite and you're looking to upgrade, you might want to wait and hold off unless you really are big into the Combinator and you're big into the Mimic Sampler. They are nice. And the Mimic Sampler, if you're into heavy sampling, it does streamline the workflow quite a bit in Reason. And I think it's a good addition. How does it compete with other DAWs? That's a different story. Outside of workflow preferences, if you're looking for sheer power, you might be better suited with a different DAW. Or if you're looking for certain features, like you want video support built into the software, if you want um, certain like more MIDI outs, MIDI ins, things of that nature, you might want to look at using something like, yeah, you might want to look at a Cubase, Ableton, maybe a Cakewalk. If I could just be honest, this has a good workflow. It does not have video support. You still cannot convert audio polyphonically. Is it necessary? No. A lot of other DAWs cannot do this besides Ableton, and there are some third-party software that can do this. However, it would be really nice to have at this point as a bonus. VST3 support, I'm going to have to go try to, I might have to uninstall because Reason is not picking up on my Arturia collection at all. Even the ones that I have previously installed on other on older versions of Reason, this one is not picking up. So I may have to go back and double check. So I don't want to speak on that right out the gate and say no VST3 support. Shame on you. It might actually have it, and I'm just doing something wrong. But if I would say the missed opportunity came with the Combinator, I think if they would have taken this and not only allowed you to, chain together devices to create new ones, but also taken a middle of the road approach between this and, let's say, a Reactor or a Max for Live, where Reason also built their own components to a synth, if you will, and they said, all right, you have like rack could be analog oscillator, and you would literally slap on an analog oscillator or a digital oscillator or a sample oscillator, if you will. And then the next part of the component would be filters, and not just exclusive like, all right, you slap in Thor and you route it, but you literally had a section that was like, these are your filters, almost like building a Euro rack, but not fully having, well, yeah, like building a Euro rack and you just have the components. And, they did some of that out of the gate. So you had filter, and they had some really nice filters, your state variables, your combs, your formats, your sailing keys, a bunch of different filters that you could use. And that was your filter. And you put that in, and then you had a customizable envelope that you could put in, and that was its own thing. And then, you go from there. I think that would have been a nice middle of the road approach that would have given the users an immediate access to having the ability to build their own instrument, but you go a little bit more in depth. I think that would have been awesome for this product. As it stands, if you're really into that, then you may have to compete more or less with something like Max for Live with Ableton, and that's really kind of taken That's really caught some steam because it's similar to this, but it's very flexible because it allows you to build your own instrument, but you get into having to know more about how to code. So it, again, it depends, but I think in the future, if they did something like that, it'd be nice. VST3 support would be nice. If they don't have this, I got to double check and confirm. Again, it would be great if they had it. So if you're using Reason 11 Suite and you're on the fence, I would say wait it out. Don't get this right off the bat. Wait until they go a little bit more down the line and see how this product develops. On the other hand, if you're someone like this, this combinator, for me, it's nice. And I used to do a lot of patch building in Reason. The combinator is a welcome addition. The sampler, the new mimic, is also, it's a welcome addition. I wish they would have added key detection. For me, it's not a deal breaker, but for a lot of people, it is. So it's another missed opportunity unless they changed it. Okay. Missing something. It looks like they added that in. Unless I just wasn't paying attention to some of the other videos. I'm going to throw a sample in real quick. I'm going to go to multi-slot. Let's reset this device. And let's bounce this. Disk. Could have been me. I want to put this on my PC. Uh-oh. Nope. I want to put a 1 in front of that. So let's see what happens. Analyze. The root notes. Let's see. It's analyzed at a 0. I don't know. That doesn't sound like the key of A. Well, actually, that would help too. You know what? They might have got that in. They might have got that right. No root note, no tune, but it's analyzed at A0. Hey, it looks like they put that in. So, hey, if key detection is what you're looking for, they may have done that. Let's throw this in here. Yep. So they did it. They put that in. They put that in. I would say this, try it out. If you're new, definitely try it out. You might not be disappointed. If you're someone that these features are really important to have in-house, try it out, see if you like it. It looks like they have a lot more markers on here too. Wow, okay. Try it out, see if you like it, see if it works for you and your workflow and for your goals. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend it. Try it out, See if you like it. And again, I'll come out with another video where I'll do a track and show you how you can make different types of music with this DAW, because it is a very capable DAW. Tim Keys, and I'm out. Have a good one. Peace.